Well, hello, boys and girls and pen pals. It's me, your plucky and upbeat Professor Johnson here to talk to you about America. America is a big, important place, and one of the things America takes a lot of pride in is its freedom. See, America has no king or queen. The people reign supreme. America is a democracy, and they even help other countries find their own democracy. So, without further delay, let's discover what makes America free. All right, kids, are you ready to learn about the American government?
Yay!
Okay, the greatest, freest democracy on earth has many different branches. You know the president. He's chosen by all the people coming together and voting. They do it with the Electoral College. You see, a long time ago, a compromise was needed to make the country. One side had a lot of small states, so they preferred a strong Senate. Their citizens' votes would count more than the other states. They fought against the southern states. Those states were full of people who wanted their slaves to count for representation. That would mean every slaveholder could elect a congressman with the power of their enslaved workers. Well, almost. For the sake of counting votes, slaves only counted as 3/5 of a person. The Electoral College was the best of both worlds. Vast numbers of people didn't get the vote, but they had their numbers counted anyway. Small states also got a massive boost to their voting power. That's why a vote for president in Wyoming is worth 600 times more than one in California. The system works great, and the presidency almost always goes to someone with the most votes. Except in 1824, 1876, 1888, 2000, and 2016. And it looks like things will get worse. The growing rural-urban divide means that those in cities will find their presidential vote diminishing. And of course, there are the US colonies like Puerto Rico and Guam who don't get to vote at all. And election day is on a Tuesday, which isn't a holiday. Polls get really overcrowded, and there's no early voting. If you want to mail in your ballot, well, the Republicans are doing a whole lot of work right now to try and stop you from doing that. Consequently, people of color and the working class often can't get the opportunity to get to the polls. That is, if they weren't purged from the voter roll without their knowledge. So, actually, every aspect of the presidential election seems to contain as little democracy as possible. At least, as little as it can while still calling it an election. But then, there are the real protectors of the Constitution, the people whose decisions uphold the most significant civil rights legislation these days. The Supreme Court. Yes, 9 people serving for life in an unelected position. They guarantee that those presidents elected through dubious means get to shape human and civil rights for decades. I don't know about you, but I don't feel comfortable thinking that abortion rights, interracial marriage, and gay marriage all rest on not laws, but a decision from this body that can be reversed at any time. And it does seem they're going to be reversing it soon. 6 out of 9 of the Supreme Court members are conservatives appointed by presidents who lost the popular vote. Isn't that a joy? But then there's a Senate, a body the Founding Fathers explicitly designed to reign in democracy. Whether a state has less than 1 million or several million, all of them get 2 senators. Only a few senators, about a third, get elected every cycle, and the staggered elections means that a new party or movement won't have an easy time taking it over. And that's by design. They saw too much democracy as anarchy, and honestly, same, but they thought of that as a bad thing to be avoided at all costs. The Senate wasn't even an elected body until the 20th century. Its purpose is to act as a check and balance on the will of the people. But America's a republic, not a democracy, right? Silence. America never called itself the arsenal of republicanism. All right. So 2 of the 3 branches of the government are not democratic. Half of the third is an explicit check on democracy. But at least we got the House and any number of representatives from local elections and up. Right? Well, you'll just have to learn about how America can rig even elections. But first, these messages. One man. Ron Donager here. One mission. Aliens have arrived on Earth, and they want to kidnap the Prime Minister? I can do this, but I'll need my partner. One partner. Can Ron Donninger save the Prime Minister, rescue the original Magna Carta, and save Britain and the world? You'll have to see in this summer's blockbuster, Ron Donninger, Out of This World. High Overlord Gleepglorp, consider yourself Donningered. That's right, Mommy. And we're back! So, after that discussion of American civics, you might be a little disheartened. Yes, America's institutions are not only undemocratic, but anti-democratic. But in practice, the vote is sacred. So, you can't say America isn't a democracy because every 2 years, there are elections. So let me talk about how a country can have elections, but still keep the people they want in power. And I'll do so with sock puppets.
Well, hello, boys and girls. My name's Steppy the Elephant, and I'm going to tell you today about American history. Yay! After the Civil War, white supremacists in the South wanted to keep black people from voting. This is despite black people being free and full citizens. When it was clear the law wouldn't let them do it, they resorted to terrorism. But even that didn't work forever, so Uncle Sam had to get clever. A straightforward way to keep people from voting is finding new and novel ways to make people ineligible. They were already re-implementing slavery using the prison system, so why not use it to keep black people from voting too? The equation is simple. You use the police to over-arrest people of color, put them through a legal system that gives them extra harsh sentences, then take the right to vote away from people with a criminal record. It's as easy as that. Florida kept so many black people from voting, it helped George Bush win the 2000 election with fewer votes. Isn't that wild? Another trick used to make elections moot is to have politicians choose their voters. We call this one gerrymandering. If you draw the boundaries of election districts, you see you could do all sorts of funny things. You can concentrate people who vote for your opposition in a few districts, then give people who vote for you a slight majority in the rest. You can get way fewer votes, but still hold all the power. This process has become so sophisticated that experts use advanced software to optimize it. Why golly, the Republicans who use me as their mascot used this little trick after the 2010 census to rig the House for themselves in a colossal way. Given the undemocratic advantage the Senate and Electoral College give rural states, they can exist under minority rule for years to come. And running for political office has a vigorous vetting process to make sure no one disapproved by the elite can ever get elected. America keeps only two major political parties. Both have extreme forms of gatekeeping to make sure corporate-friendly candidates make it through. Let's take Bernard the Tiger over here. Come on, Bernard. Hello? Bernard wants to run for president. He wants everybody to get access to medicine they need, as well as a good education and a raise of the minimum wage. That's great, Bernard, but the party doesn't like any of those. So we're going to have a complex delegate system and a series of primaries. None of them has any necessity to be democratic. That's not my words. They argued that in court. Mix in friendly journalists, harsh registration requirements, removing polling locations causing huge lines, and heck, maybe even a few in-person primaries during the early chaos of a pandemic, just for good measure. You get a nice brew going, and then you can have any leader you want, even if he's only half alive. And maybe an election can take place and you lose. Even that might not be a problem. You can always call into question the integrity of the election. If that doesn't work, you can always agitate your supporters into an attempted coup of the government. Even if that fails, you can use the media narrative you made to pass many laws making it nearly impossible for people of the other party to vote. Then just sit back and watch either your victory or just dismiss election results forever. Boy, does that future sound fun! Okay, well that's all fine and good at home, but what about abroad? How do you stop people from other countries voting for leaders you don't like? Well, the United States government has that long figured out. For decades, the US government has used the CIA or funded right-wing coups of elected governments they don't like. They often led to regimes of terror that committed mass murder. And this stuff still goes on today. It's why you have any clue who Juan Guaido is. Is there any way we can solve this? Can we make America in any way democratic? No.
So, what can you do to turn this problem around? Well, that's complicated. First, I would say that there are many questions about how democratic elections are as a concept. Funneling political action down to a curated list of people self-selected to be power-hungry doesn't seem like the people ruling. In fact, I wonder if democracy and representative government are even compatible. Participating in elections is okay. It can be an effort to mitigate damage, but as we saw in the story of Bernard the Tiger, the amount you can do will always be limited. Activism is a good option too. The problem is protests planned and approved by the city amounts to little more than asking your rulers for a better world. You're just asking really loud. Nothing that elite interests can't live without will ever be up for grabs this way. There's really only one solution at the end of the day. The people need to rise